Welcome to Creepy and Kiki. I'm your host, Robert, and on today's episode, I'm talking to Onika about M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit. But first, Donna and I are talking about all the newest stuff. How's it going, Donna?
Hey Robert, it's going great. I really can't wait to listen to this conversation about The Visit because that is a really odd movie. I'm sorry.
Yes, yes, it is.
Oh my gosh. I'm doing well. I think it's getting ready to storm here in the South. So hopefully, everybody listen, hopefully I won't cut out because I know sometimes our connection is kind of spotty when it gets bad. But how you been?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I'm living life, of course. But yeah, no, it's been okay here. Haven't been working the last couple of days because I got to get my brakes fixed on my car
Oh,
and everything. But the downtime is nice. So it's
I know that's right.
giving me some time to watch a lot more YouTube than I usually watch. I get obsessed with certain things and like I don't know. I've been obsessed for a while, and I think I've mentioned this on the show before, but I get obsessed with like tiny home stuff. It's probably because my little office room here, like I'm always trying to figure out the best configuration for it,
Hmm.
and um, so I like watching that kind of stuff, especially because like thinking about like just how can I fit my stuff better,
Right.
or like if I were to have to go someplace else, like how would I fit it in there? So now like I'm hooked on this one woman's channel. She's out of Toronto. Her name's
Hmm.
Alexandra Gator. Um, so you guys can all look her up if you're into that stuff. But she just does like studio apartment things in Toronto. She doesn't do anything outside of that, but she does like, and it's so funny too because like it'll suggest like older videos, and you can see where she's just kind of moving things around and maybe doing a little tiny bit of fixing here and there
Right.
to like kind of make it better. But in her newest videos, she literally like changes all the furniture. She has obviously got bigger sponsors now. Um, so she comes in and will change the bed and the couch and everything. It's crazy. Um, but what she does is like really cool. And it's so funny too because I was telling Katrina, I was like, yeah, yeah, I know I've gotten old and I'm in my HGTV phase basically. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. You've always been like that.
Well, I mean, it's nice though because you can get ideas and inspiration watching other people, the way that
Yeah,
they configure rooms and stuff like that. So I don't find anything wrong with that. I watch a lot of
exactly.
cooking shows and I like to cook and I like to eat. So
Yeah.
definitely in my Food Network stage of life, I just love watching cooking shows. And then I go, "Ooh, we're making that," and a lot of times we make it and it's really good. And it's
That's
like we have to
cool.
add it to like our we've got a recipe book when we find a recipe that everybody likes and everybody's like, "Yeah, we're making this again." That's the one we put in the book. It's like very hard to find something that everybody likes to eat at the same time.
Yeah.
But nothing wrong with that. I do
No,
want to
not at
say
all.
as I'm always coming in here and I'm wanting to say I don't have a whole hell of a lot because it was kind of slow week.
It was a slow week, yeah, and I have a feeling we're going to double up on a couple of things. I didn't even go to the movies this week. There wasn't anything out that I really wanted to go watch. Yes, everybody, I know The Conjuring just came out. I don't care for the Conjuring series, so which is why you haven't heard me cover it on this show yet.
Yeah, I
Um,
just talked about that on the last episode I did. I was talking about things that were coming out the rest of the year to kind of get people excited. And I said, I'm gonna finish the Conjuring series whenever that comes to streaming because I'm not paying money to go see that. But I'm
yeah,
not really a huge fan, especially after learning all of the real life stuff about this couple. So
yeah,
y'all can read on it on your own and take it from there. But they were weird. Um,
yeah. I've watched the first two Conjuring movies, the
mhm,
first two Annabelle movies, and the first Nun movie, and while they're all okay,
mhm.
I just don't find them to be overly interesting. They're just for me, they're just not as interesting. I get why people like it. Part of it's like I just don't dig on gothic stuff, and that's kind
Mhm.
of what it reminds me of. It's kind of in that gothic style.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm just not like as interested in haunted house type
I've
stuff.
seen all of the Conjuring movies just because I like Patrick Wilson and I like Vera Farmiga.
No, they're
I
both
love them
great.
together.
Yeah.
Their chemistry is great. But the more I started delving into the Warrens, the more I was
Yeah.
like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I
Right.
mean? But
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish at least that. I've never seen, well, I saw the first Annabelle and that pissed me off, so I didn't even bother to watch the rest.
Yeah.
And then I didn't watch any of the Nun stuff. So this will be it for me. But obviously it's not going to be the end because they're already talking about doing a Conjuring series. Which why the fuck do we need that?
Oh, wow.
Anyway,
Okay.
I'm gonna move on before I start
Because somebody
bitching
needs
about the.
money.
Clearly. Oh my gosh. So,
All right.
do you want to kick off or you want me to kick off?
Um, Let me go ahead and kick off because I
Yeah,
have a feeling we're going to double up on a couple, like
sure.
at least one thing, maybe two. But I'm going to kick off with there's a new trailer that just dropped this week for Marvel Zombies,
Oh my
which
God.
is a new animated series coming to Disney Plus that is like right off the bat, they tell you this show is going to be TVMA, which is
Mm-hmm.
basically R-rated on TV. And it is. It's bloody, it's violent, there's bad language in it. I am all for this.
I
Like,
love the Marvel Zombie series. I have a bunch of the books because I love it so
yes.
much. You already know I'm a zombie person, so that was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But
That
yeah, this
was a good
trailer's
one.
got me hyped. It really does.
Yes. And you got a lot of the actors, the actors doing the voice work and stuff like
Yep.
that. It's mostly um phase 4 on actors. So just know that going in. But like, they still have it's still everybody great. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be exciting to see. It looks like a lot of fun. You've got Yelena and um um who is it? Shang-Chi and Red Guardian and a bunch of others just like stopping the zombie Avengers. So it's really cool. Yeah, I'm not as big a zombie fan as Donna is, as we've discussed on the show before. But I do like the Marvel Zombies comics. I think it's hilarious because it's if anybody doesn't know, uh fans of Marvel comics were affectionately known as Marvel Zombies.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when in the early 2000s, during the zombie renaissance, um, that they had the smart move to get Robert Kirkman to write a Marvel Zombies series with art by Sean Phillips. And if anybody knows me and comic books and everything, I love Sean Phillips'
Mm-hmm.
work. So he does a lot of work with Ed Brubaker, and a lot of it's criminal, like crime related, including a book called Criminal, which is being turned into an Amazon Prime series, by the way.
Oh wow.
Yes, I can't wait. It's gonna be so exciting. So anyway, um, but yeah, so that being said, yeah, the Marvel Zombies comics are fun, and it's good to see an MCU take on it. Uh, but yeah, it's all animated, so they can do all kinds of crazy stuff. We even have a version of Blade that's in this show, which is gonna be a lot of fun. But he's called Blade Knight because he's Blade with Moon Knight powers.
Mm-hmm.
So so yeah, so it's exciting. It looks fun. It looks funny. Which it looks like it's going to cover all the bases. If anybody has seen the earlier What If
What if? Yeah.
animated series, there was an episode on of that was set in a world with zombies. This looks like it's just expanding that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's probably one
so
of my favorite episodes of What If. Just
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
it's one of the
really
best
like in
ones.
depth and you're like on edge because
Yeah,
there was a lot going on and there were a lot of freaking zombies. That's all you need
there
is
were.
zombies with superpowers, you know?
Oh man. Yeah. Well, and it's even cooler too because like this version, they're obviously kind of mindless and everything,
Hmm.
but in the comic book version, the zombies could think and talk.
Yeah, they were
So it
very
made
much
that even more dangerous. So
exactly.
so it's pretty crazy. Anybody who sees this show, go back and watch the or go back and read the original, at least the first two Marvel Zombies series. Those are the best ones.
Hmm.
And there's even a crossover if you can find it. Army of Darkness versus Marvel Zombies. They actually crossed over. Ash and the Marvel Zombies crossed over for like a 4 or 5 issue miniseries. So, which was a lot of fun also. So yeah, but yeah, check it out. Trailer will be in the show notes, so you can check that out. So what's your first thing?
So my first thing is not horror. Surprisingly,
What?
it's not, I know. So the trailer for Emerald Fennell's Wuthering Heights came out this week, and it
Okay,
is. I know this is like, I'm throwing you for
was
a loop here, but
not expecting Wuthering Heights at all. Not from you.
normally I wouldn't even bring that title up. But Emerald Fennell has directed two out of two of my favorite movies, Promising Young Woman and Saltburn. And this one looks really good. I mean, it's an erotic psychological drama. It's got Margot Robbie, first of all. Just
Mm,
stop
yeah.
right there. And we also have Jacob Elordi. Jacob Elordi was in Saltburn. I
Ugh.
think Margot Robbie, I think she produced a couple of her movies, or at least one of them. Um, and so this is gonna be the trailer is weird, y'all. I'm just telling you now. If you've seen either of her movies, previous movies, especially Saltburn, you're gonna be in for an unusual romance, to say the least. But it's not gonna come out until February 13th, so it's right around the Valentine holiday. Um, but it looks so good. Like, she just I don't know, there's something about her direction I just love, and this is a trailer you gotta watch. It's not gonna make a whole hell of a lot of sense, but it's gonna make you wanna go, "What? I wanna see this."
Yeah, interesting. So I just looked it up too because I was like, okay, this is interesting. I one, I'm not a big fan of Jacob Elordi. Um, so it's probably going to be a pass for me. But two, apparently there's a lot of pushback on this because the character that he's playing in the original source book is described as being dark-skinned
Oh, yeah.
and Romani.
Mhm.
And so him being white, and then also Robbie, who's like 35, is playing a person who's supposed to be at most 19 years old.
Mhm.
So yeah, they've obviously taken some creative liberties, which is fine-ish. Um, I can see why people would be frustrated with it, but um, yeah, I'm not likely to watch this myself, just mostly because of Jacob Elordi. I'm not a
Yeah.
big fan of his.
I mean, he's
Um,
everywhere at this point. He's starting to be like Pedro Pascal because he's gonna be in the new Frankenstein movie that's coming out on Netflix,
yeah,
so, I can understand that. That's perfectly fine if you don't wanna
it's
watch
like
it.
honestly, it's like who's tall? Okay, we'll get him for Frankenstein. It's just silly. Um, it's like when any of these young guys or even women like hit something somewhere and then like
Mhm.
they get used a lot, you know. So I think the Pedro Pascal thing is like kind of off. Yes, he's gotten a lot of stuff. It's just his bad luck that like three of his movies came out at the same time.
Mhm.
That was no fault of his own. He's just like, I'm just gonna go do work. Obviously, he wasn't working on all three at the same time.
Exactly. They just happen to
So
release them around the
yeah,
same time, and I mean, they know what they're doing because 'cause they're
the
trying to
studios knew what they
catch
were
the
doing. They were like,
wave.
"Oh,
Yeah.
Fantastic Four is coming out. Then we're gonna put
Mhm.
Eddington and the Materialists right near it, so we can." That was A24. Both those movies were A24. So they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna catch this Pedro Pascal wave."
Exactly, yeah.
So,
I mean,
but
I'm
anyway,
100% gonna watch it just because her movies,
yeah,
I know that they're always unconventional. There's always something there that I don't know, it just aesthetically pleasing to me, and I like the way her
yeah.
brain works, so I'm 100% watching
I
this.
I have not seen Saltburn and have no desire to see it based on the fact that it's both Jacob Elordi and Barry Keoghan, who I
That's
can't
like a
stand him
double
either.
no for
It's a
you.
double no. It's a huge double no for me.
Oh my
But I will
gosh.
say this: Promising Young Woman is brilliant. And everybody should watch that. It's hard. Don't get me
It's
wrong.
extremely
It's
hard.
extremely hard and rough. Trigger warnings just please check those out first before you watch it. But if you can watch it, it's such a great movie.
Hmm.
It's so good, and the performances in that. I have never cared for what's her name?
Cherry
Um,
Mulligan.
yeah, Carey Mulligan. Either this is like again like, but I was like I heard good things about it, and the trailer looked really good.
Right.
And so I watched that, and I was like blown away by that movie. I think the problem is I don't like Carey Mulligan with short hair. It's such a weird aesthetic thing. Like she's fine. Like I love Drive, and I think she's fine in that, but her short hair is like bugging me. Now in Promising Young Woman, she's got long hair. It's such a weird visual thing for me. I don't know. It's like some women pull it off fine and everything
Sometimes
like
the
that.
framing of the face just doesn't make
Yeah.
it appealing. I can understand that. I feel that way about
Yeah.
certain actors that I watch too. Like I don't want to see Kyle Gallner without a mustache. I just don't. Like I don't feel like their face
Yeah,
can
no, he
pull
looks
that
a little
off.
weird without a mustache. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
um,
He so defines him now that it's just like, yeah, it's weird. It's like, for us older folks, it's like when Tom Selleck shaved off his mustache for a
yeah,
few
no,
years,
nobody
and he
wants to
was
see
like, it was like, dude, I get it, but like, no, like the
that.
mustache defines you. It's part of your
It's
trademark.
part
Leave
of
it.
you now.
Yeah. So anyway, but all right, let's go ahead and move on. Um, I'm gonna skip this one because I thought you were gonna talk about this one. So I'm gonna skip this one and see if this one's one on yours. So I'm gonna move on to this other one that I watched, which was a trailer for a new documentary about John Candy. It's called I Like Me.
Oh, I
Um,
saw that trailer. It looked
oh
so
my
good.
God, I was about to cry the whole time.
Yeah, you're gonna
Um,
boohoo when you watch that. Anybody
oh
that
my
watches
God.
this, if you don't have a heart. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, if you have a connection to John Candy, which we do, obviously, I almost cried when he died. I
Hmm.
was literally working when I found out and almost broke down in tears then. And this was in the early 90s, everybody. This is what, 93, no, 94 was when he died. I was 20. So I was at work. I think I was working at Pizza Hut, which is funny. Um, for anybody who doesn't know, I just recently was working at Pizza Hut earlier this year, so so that's why it's funny. But yeah, I this goes through his life and his career and everything. This is produced by Ryan Reynolds, who announced it like a few years ago. I remember it being announced, but it's directed by Colin Hanks, who's the son of Tom Hanks, and a really great actor on his own. If
Hmm.
you don't know, check out his stuff because he's been in lots of cool stuff. But he talks to co-stars and friends and family and everything about John Candy's life and career and everything like that. And it's just, oh man, it looks so wonderful and heartbreaking at the same time.
Hmm.
Um, and it just reminds you of just what a talent John Candy really was. And how much, I mean, because he was only 43 when he died.
Yeah, he was
Um,
really young.
yeah. So it is so sad. But yeah, it looks like a fun documentary, and definitely worth checking out once it comes on. I think it's going to be on Amazon Prime when it comes
Yeah,
out.
I think so.
But yeah, but that's John Candy, I Like Me, which is a line from I think it's from Uncle Buck, so
Uh-uh.
which is one
Planes,
of his
Trains, and
best.
Automobiles.
Was it? Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
because he does this whole soliloquy at the end, and then he
Yeah,
says that, and even when I think about that, I'm wanting to tear up. I
yeah.
I don't know how I'm gonna watch this. I am gonna watch it, but I haven't even watched the Pee Wee himself
Oh,
documentary
I
because
haven't
I know
watched
I'm
that
gonna
either.
lose it.
Yeah.
I can't. I just
I
can't.
yeah,
Y'all don't
especially
understand.
because
These people, we grew up with these people, and it's like
well, and I
watching.
don't
Go
I
ahead.
don't even have that big of an attachment to Pee Wee either, but finding out about how much he hid of himself, like
Mhm.
just through the trailer of it, and I was like, oh fuck, man. Like like
Yeah.
it's just heartbreaking how much he hid himself.
Yeah.
So he never really got to escape the shadow of Pee Wee in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
So, but it was one of those things where um I think he wanted to escape that shadow, but then he came back around to it and realized that much like his friend Elvira, Cassandra Peterson, that they were one and the same in a
Hmm.
lot of ways. And I think that's why you see that there's like during the 90s, there was this stretch where he kind of got away from that, but then he re-embraced it and came back to Pee Wee and became Pee Wee in a big way. So, but yeah, I haven't watched that one either because I know it's gonna break my heart.
Yeah.
So,
I
but
can't do it yet. I have to steel myself before I can watch either of
yeah, exactly. It's that getting old in us.
no.
Geez. But yeah. All right. So what's your next thing?
So the next thing, I'm super excited. I love this movie. I know we've already gushed about this movie. It's going to be on our top 10 list, but Weapons is going to be available digitally on September 9th, which at the time of recording, it's going to be available this week. I cannot
Yeah.
wait to rewatch this movie again.
It'll have come
Oh
out the
my
day
God.
before this episode drops. So,
I cannot wait to watch this again. I
yeah.
can, in the comfort of my home. I cannot
Right.
wait.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I can't wait to rewatch it either. It's gonna be exciting. For sure. I'll probably wait a little bit longer to get it. I don't tend to buy things right away. But I am excited for it to come out and it'll probably be on HBO Max eventually as well.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
um but it'll be cool to check it out. And I know it's definitely getting a physical release at least. So
Mhm. So if
um
you guys haven't seen it or you don't wanna go to the theater, you can watch it at home this week.
yeah. All right. Let's see. So my last thing is, and I'm surprised you didn't bring this up yet, but the trailer for 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple came out this week.
Oh, no, I figured that's what it was you were wanting to talk about so we could save that for last. Um,
So
I
yeah.
am so excited about this film. Ironically, it's coming out 28 weeks later after
That's
28 years
hilarious.
later. Nia
That's so smart of
DaCosta's
them.
it is, and Nia DaCosta directing this has got me super, super hyped. I mean, the Candyman 2021, it
Oh,
just blew me away.
you and I can talk about this forever. We did talk about it on an
We
earlier
did.
episode, and it's just like, oh, it's such a good movie and so redefines the original movie in so many great ways.
Right, like we discussed
Um,
before, if you watch the original Candyman and watch the 2021, it's a complete story and it
hmm
fits perfectly. She knows how to tell a story, and I know that this one, the way that 28 years later ended, it was very divisive. A lot of people don't like it. They still have a problem with it, but the glimpses of what's to come in this newest installment, I'm ready. I'm ready, ready, ready to see how this is gonna unfold for all of these characters.
so
Um,
this is yeah. So I haven't watched the first one yet. I haven't watched 28 Years Later yet.
okay.
But this one, based on what little I know, this one feels like not so much of a sequel as much as a sidequel.
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
events that are happening in this movie were also happening around the same time as events in the original movie. It's like it gives the first 28 years later more depth as to
Right.
what other characters were doing during that movie. Um, that you didn't see. So I could be wrong, but that's just what it seems like based on what I've heard.
So
So
you're getting that, yes, but we're also getting continuation of some of the
okay,
characters that
good.
we followed in that first part. And I do wanna tack on, um, that 28 years later will be on Netflix at the end of this month, September 20th.
Mm,
So if
okay, good
you
to know.
yeah, so if you want to, I know you weren't really that big on it to begin with, but if you
Yeah,
wanna watch the first part and get familiar, this would be the time this month would be the time to do it. I think that's clever that they put it out. I wish they'd waited until, like, maybe October or a little later, closer to the
yeah,
release of the 3rd part, but yeah, I'm over the moon ready for this, just because I love her so much as a director, and I wanna see how she puts her touch on this world that we're now,
yeah,
kind of just branching out and seeing how different people have been affected and what they've been doing these 28 something years
Yeah.
of this infected territory. Um, Everything about this looks great. I could not be happier to see this trailer. I know we're probably going to get more trailers. I'm going to try to keep my hype level down, but that's going to be impossible. But yeah, that was one of my favorite trailers this week, is to see that, because I'm just like, oh god, I can't wait. When they started announcing the trailer was coming out, I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And of course, when I woke up, like 5 different people on Instagram had already sent it to me because they were like, I know
Of
you want to
course,
see
yeah.
this trailer. It's so, I love you guys so I love when people think of me and they send me stuff like this. They're like, have you seen this? It's like, no, I just woke the fuck up. What the fuck?
Well, it's so funny too because I don't do that because I'm like I already one by the time I wake up, you've been awake for several hours,
Yes.
and you would have already known about it. And two, I save these things until the weekend to talk to you about because I know you've probably seen it and that we'll talk about it because I don't want to like send you too much stuff because of that reason.
Right,
But,
yeah.
but yeah, so it cracks me up. But I'm glad other people do that for you.
Oh
Nobody
my
sends
gosh.
me anything. Come on, guys. You guys are all slacking.
So I only have one more thing to talk about, and then I am out of things.
All right.
I feel like I've been a Netflix whore because I've been talking about all these Netflix things coming out, and they're not paying me one red freaking cent.
Right.
However, this is something you might be interested in, and a few other people if you're interested in animated series. There is one that's coming out September 19th called Haunted Hotel, and it is an adult animated horror comedy. Just so you know,
Okay.
um, it's
Sounds
created
interesting.
by the gentleman who created Community and Rick and Morty. It is,
Oh, Dan Harmon. Yeah.
yeah. Well, no, actually, it's a different dude.
Oh,
Matt Roller. I think he was one of the creators or a co-creator. But the premise is a single mother of two struggles to run a haunted hotel with the help of her estranged brother, who is now one of the ghosts haunting the hotel and thinks that the other ghosts have some pretty good ideas, even though they aren't alive. Um, Will Forte is one of the stars that does the voice acting, and Jimmy Simpson, who I know him from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and a bunch of other movies. But it looks cute. It looks like it's gonna be a cute horror comedy, and I know you like horror comedy, so I
yes.
figured I'd
Yeah.
throw that in the mix.
One, it feels like it fits in well with the Paramount Plus series Ghosts,
Ghost, yep. I was
which
thinking
is
that too.
hilarious. Like, please, people watch that show because it is hilarious. It's based on a UK series, but I think the US version is it's one of those ones where I think the US version is better than the UK based on what I've seen so far. I've watched the entire US version. It's kind of
Mhm.
like to me, it feels like it's like an Office thing where the Office UK was great, but the US version was even better.
Right.
And so I think it's the same with this one.
Once they become their own entity, it does, because
Yeah,
they usually
exactly.
start off like the first season is almost identical, but by the second or
Yeah,
third, they really do make it their own, and it's so much fun.
yeah. And then there's also another show on Paramount Plus called School Spirits that's really good too. That you should people should check out. But Haunted Hotel sounds a lot like um, ghosts. So I will have to check out this trailer. I just hit the reminder on Netflix for myself for that, and I just popped up the trailer to watch on YouTube once we finish. So, um, but yeah, I no, that's cool. Let's see, haunted hotel. Sorry, just marking it down on my notes here. So, all right. Well, uh, that's all I have for this week. Before we move on to the rest of the show, why don't you let everyone know what you've got going on your show this week?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my previous episode, I should say, I just talked about a bunch of movies and shows that were coming out, horror oriented, that you should kind of keep an eye on and, put on your radar. But I left off a few.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm gonna go back and do that, but really after I kinda give that little blurb of a few other things that you should be aware of, I'm going to be talking about Together just because
Oh,
I
okay.
watched it and I got to talk to somebody about it. So why not talk to you guys about it? It
Yeah,
it
I was tempted to go see that. I just it didn't motivate me enough to go out and see it. So, um, yeah, I'll have to listen to your episode to see what you thought about
Yeah, it's like, a love story meets the substance. That's
it.
the best way
Yeah.
I can describe it. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna be talking about. I'm gonna give you a little bit more of some things to look out for. Marvel Zombies is gonna be on that because I couldn't believe I could have kicked myself that I didn't add that one. Um, and then Together will be what the actual episode will be about.
All right, cool, cool. Yeah, and stay tuned for to listen to me and Onika talk about M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit after this. But also, speaking of Marvel Zombies, I'll let you all know that I'm slated to guest on another podcast that I've been on before to talk about Marvel Zombies. So
Woohoo.
that's a little tease for you guys. Um, I'll let you guys know that once it's um, closer to coming out. But yep, that's all I have for today. Stay tuned, and until next week, stay creepy. On today's episode, we're talking about M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit with returning guest Onika. Welcome back to the show, Onika.
Oh, thanks for having me back, Robert. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, always great having you on. Always a fun conversation, and we have a lot of fun. Uh,
Mhm.
especially with tangents and such.
Oh, yes.
So,
And it's sure to be one full of Shyamalan shenanigans.
exactly the Shyamalan shenanigans. Yeah, so yeah, we're talking about his found footage movie, The Visit, which is his return to um I guess kind of prominence after a couple of not so great movies. He did this one follows directly after Earth and The Last Airbender. And so when you talk about his movie making, he had faltered quite a bit there.
Oh, yeah, he was securely riding the hate wave at this point.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And I think this one was one of those ones that this one I feel still kind of goes under the radar a little bit when we talk about his resurgence, because I think the resurgence really hit for him with Split, which was his movie after this one. And
Hmm.
that was a that was a much bigger hit for him and kind of brought him back fully. This one was interesting because he had to self-finance this movie.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
nobody was really giving him the cash that he
no,
used to.
no, because he had two
Because
back-to-back failures, like spectacular failures at that.
and
So
it's not like the last few movies before that were particularly good.
no, no, because he had what I argue are the big four in the beginning. Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, Signs, and The Village were all generally well received and did well at the box office. The Village maybe not so much in terms of well received, but that one's gotten a critical reappraisal in the last few years. And then
It's
go ahead.
Oh, it's like it's really funny with the visit. I know that's not what we're talking about, but it's just really funny because I remember when it came out. I remember seeing the trailer for it. I never saw it in theaters. I saw it later, but I remember seeing the trailer and saying, "Okay, so all of this is fake," because they used Evanescence's song "Imaginary" for the trailers, and I, a huge Evanescence fan, was just like, "Oh." So like all of the everything that they're experiencing is fake because they gave it away with the song, which I think, if
Interesting.
if you weren't an emo teenage girl at the time, you probably would have been fine and not noticed that. But I listened to Evanescence like it was a religion.
Yeah, that's too funny. Yeah, I think yeah, that's an interesting problem. And again, that's something that typically happens. The director is usually not involved with the trailer making. That's usually
Hmm.
outsourced to another company. So sometimes the stuff that's in trailers is ends up spoiling things that the
Trailers
director would have
care.
never wanted. Yeah, um so he had those first four. Then he had Lady in the Water, which definitely didn't do as well. I still argue that it's still pretty okay. It's definitely not great. It's definitely not in that top four category for him, it um it still wasn't that bad. And then, his next three, The Happening, Last Airbender, and After were
You forgot Devil.
well, Devil he produced. He didn't direct that one.
Oh,
So
he didn't direct it. I just
no,
his name was like so featured so prominently. I
yeah.
thought like it was his.
I think he either wrote it or co-wrote it and produced it but didn't direct it. So I
Okay.
think it's like right now there's a movie coming out uh uh by that's produced by Jordan Peele called Him.
I'm
And
so
his
ready
name
for
is
it.
prominent in the marketing, but he's not directing it and he didn't write it. He didn't do anything with it other than producing it. And so I think that's the problem sometimes is when you get like a big producer like that and they like their name gets on something, it gets so associated with that person that sometimes it gets the people think, oh, he must have directed that too. So
Yeah.
uh
It still looks really interesting and I'm willing to give it a shot. Like just on the grounds of like seeing a Wayans brother in a serious horror movie.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I'm interested in the new in that movie, him. And which may or may not be out by the time this airs. So, but I just think that with the Happening, Last Airbender, and After Earth, and then even saying The Lady in the Water before that, that was a dramatic slide down for him. Um, and so he I think Lady in the Water was more of a passion project for him, and The Happening was just I don't know what happened with that movie. That one's just weird. And then the other two were like big budget, big Hollywood movies that had lots of interference with them. And so he's even disowned Last Airbender and After Earth. So he's completely just like, nope, I have, don't want to talk about those movies. I just nothing to do with them anymore. But that being said, because of that downward slide, yes, he wasn't getting anything near the, you know, what he was trying to do before. So he was like, okay, well, I'm going to self finance this found footage movie and see what I could do with it. And, I think by and large, most people think it was fairly good. I think for the most part, it's an entertaining movie and it's got some interesting things in it. There's definitely some stuff that I question in it, but
Hmm.
which we'll get into. But I think overall it was fairly successful, and it helped him get just enough cachet back to get Split made. And so I think that was the key right there was he needed to prove that he could make another movie again that could be semi successful enough, make its money back plus make a profit, and then get there with this. So,
It's funny
so
because,
anyway,
I really like Unbreakable, but like I have not seen Split like in its entirety, and nor have I
okay.
watched Glass. Not because
Mm,
I don't think that they're going to be like terrible, but like I am very and this will get brought up later on in the conversation as well, but I'm very I'm trying to think of the word apprehensive about movies that tackle things such as dissociative identity disorder, but I
right.
especially am apprehensive about it in any kind of form of mental illness when M. Night Shyamalan is handling it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll get into
And
that a
despite
little bit
the
here.
yeah, and
Go
despite
ahead.
the fact that I do like the visit is actually one of the big reasons why I'm apprehensive.
Right, right. So that being said, let's go ahead and get your, general thoughts about the movie. Like, did you see this when it came out the theaters? When, like, when did you see it? How did you see it? And what do you think of it? Like, what did you think of it then? What do you think of it now?
Okay. So me and my friend Brittany have a intense love of going to see bad found footage horror films that we know are going to be bad, but in theaters because usually we are alone. Um, because we saw The Gallows in
Mm.
theaters and we were the only ones in there. I have pictures of us just being alone in the theater. They were nice enough to still run it for us. Um, and then so I think it was we had gone to see Unfriended, and this was one,
Mm.
and the visit was one of the trailers in Unfriended, and I'm like, hey, this looks like a found footage horror film. And then we saw M. Night Shyamalan in the credits, and we're like, okay, now that's list, like we have to see it, like because yeah, he was riding the oh he makes bad movies wave, like it's just like oh my god, a bad found footage film by M. Night Shyamalan. I'm so on board. I want this more than I want anything else. Um, and I am also of the opinion that we should just give M. Night Shyamalan as much money as he wants, no spending cap. Like basically what Sony did to Kojima for Death Stranding, give him however much money he wants to make a movie as long as he wants, no cuts, no edits, just let him do it. Um, and so we were so on board for this. So we ended up seeing it like opening night in theaters. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is actually not bad. I'm like, because it's just like there were funny parts. There were parts where it's just like, oh, that made me jump. Um, and there was a particular part where I was literally terrified for one of the children. I was having a legit like breakdown in the theater. I'm like, oh my God, don't let this be happening. Oh my God, oh my God. And like I just like I'm like if this is going where it's I think it's going, we're leaving. And um so we actually ended up enjoying it and not like in the ironic way we enjoy Unfriended, where it's just like this movie is not good, but we had fun. Um but we actually left it and was like that wasn't too bad, like it's surprising to see actually how good it was with the limited budget. And personally like it's one of those things, it's like okay, so you can be with M. Night Shyamalan, it's like you can be really creative on a pretty modest budget. That's a good sign that you still have like the same level of creativity. I think you just kind of with him, I just feel like sometimes he gets a little lost in his own hype. I also do appreciate that this is probably one of his only movies where he doesn't have a cameo.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
no,
tend
no
go
cameo is
ahead.
as egregious as I said. No cameo is quite as egregious as his one in Trap.
I think I agree with you. I think, it definitely was something that, you go into it, you're going, oh, this is M. Night Shyamalan. Okay. Yeah, let's see if this is any good. And it turns out it's actually not bad. Especially as well as found footage movies go. It's actually one of the better ones. Um, it holds
It's
its
actually
Go ahead.
it actually is surprisingly good enough that it doesn't feel like it's a found footage movie. Like in
Yeah.
places it feels a little too good to be a found footage movie. Like because it looks too good.
Well, and I think this is what's interesting about it too, and this is what I argue about a lot of times with found footage movies and stuff too, is you have a lot of, especially modern day, like I would say 2010s and 2020s uh style found footage movies. They try to go for that almost VHS slash security cam style grainy footage, and I hate that. I'm like, can we get
Hmm.
some good quality, like the people, like at least for the last 10, 15 years, maybe even 20, we have high def cameras. Like this
Hmm.
should be better looking than it is. People are carrying around really good equipment. So whenever I do see movies that are like this, that actually have good quality, cameras, and everything's not like grainy and gross and everything like that. I get the reason why they do that. And especially if you're setting it in a 80s, 90s time period, fine. I get that. But if you're not setting it in that period, please do better, because this is a good template for what you could do if you have, you know, a good budget. Just stop trying to put those filters on things. I like it better when you can actually see what the hell's going on. So,
I agree. I definitely agree with where you're coming from. And I think that things have gotten actually a little worse since the introduction of analog horror into
yeah,
the mainstream.
like the
Because
VHS anthology series as well.
that yeah, so like everybody's trying to do that, and it's like, okay, but you all can't do the same thing
Right.
all the time. And it's just like, I do need to see what's going on in this movie. I need to know what's happening. I would not like to be looking at Skinamarink um uh,
Oh,
for the
hate
next
that
few hours.
movie.
Me too. My husband fell asleep during it and I was
I'm
reading.
surprised. I was looking at my phone the whole time because it was boring as hell. I like look, I get that there are some people that they really connect to that movie, and I'm not going to shit on them or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
That's all well and good. I did not like that movie. It was like that one, and there was another movie that came out right around the same time called The Outwaters, that everybody was going gaga
Yeah.
about, and I was just like, that one didn't do
Didn't care
anything
for
for
it
me
either.
either. Yeah, I was just like, these movies don't work for me. And I'm glad they work for other people, especially people who are really big found footage fans and stuff. But I'm like, no, to me, you gotta do better. I get what they were going for, definitely with Skinamarink, but it's just like,
Yeah,
no, it
I
doesn't
I
work
know
for
that
me.
like they were supposed to make, they were trying to intentionally make it feel like that, those moments when you're a child and you're like
Yeah,
scared and you feel apprehensive and you don't quite know why, because you're a child and you don't have like that
yeah.
understanding of the world. Um, but like it's just like this movie had nothing happening for so long, and I can
Right. It was
only
just like
look
looking at
at the
dark walls.
corner. It's like I
Yeah.
can only look at the upper corner of a room for 10 minutes without disassociating. Oh, so many
Um,
times. You can't do that to me for nearly 2 hours.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But that's what I like about this. And there's like other things. I was just thinking of another movie. Oh, Deadstream. And I know
Mm,
Deadstream people, there's a lot of
love.
people who don't love Deadstream, but I like it. It's really good. Um, because it's done on digital, it's done very well. He actually incorporates like, like most times you're in a and you feel it in this one as well, in the visit. There's no score because it's a found footage movie.
Hmm.
Like anytime there's music, it's incidental music that's going on, like on camera. So I love that that's what he did in Deadstream as well, as like to create like a score to what he was doing. He was playing music on camera to like enhance it. I love that because I was like, oh, that's such a unique, fun way to
Hmm.
incorporate a score into a movie, into a found footage movie. So anyway,
Oh, God, the
uh
Winters need to make another movie.
but coming
Uh,
back to the visit, but yes, it's
mhm,
it's just I love that they do that. Everything is actually done well in camera, that it's like at least high definition of. Yeah, I agree with you. There is sometimes it comes off as like less found footage and more just a direct movie, but I I would still say that's just because the camera work is done fairly well enough
mhm.
that but the performances and everything still feel found footage enough to me. So I still always feel like the movie's found footage, even if it doesn't always look found footage. So
My thing is like, plot wise, her mom finds the camera in a bargain bin. So like it shouldn't be as good. And I don't think she gets her shot every time.
Yeah.
Like
Well, to be
everyone's
fair,
well
it is
centered.
very much it's very much explained because she is a
Mhm.
lover of film. She knows all these filmmaking techniques and everything else like that. Of course, she's going to be like perfectly, in camera and stuff like that. And it makes sense when her shots are doing that, it's exactly like that. But you do see when her brother's using the camera, his shots aren't quite as good. And I like that
Yeah,
they
they
do
aren't
make
as
that
important.
differentiation between the two. So
And also
it
like
gives a good enough excuse for making sure that things are right in the middle of the frame and everything. Like it's a really great excuse to make her character a film geek. So,
but I also feel like in terms of the set is a bit too pristine. Like
mm,
the house doesn't feel particularly lived in. Like what it would have benefited from like little things like a sweater on the back of a chair or
mm,
some like just like some things like just like to show that the home has been lived in, that it's a house, because that's one thing that's nice about I find nice about found footage films is usually when you get a good found footage film, mind you, um they have a good way of setting making the set look like a realistic situation. For an example, Hell House LLC. Like, you know, there's I think like one of the things about it is one, they also shot on location, like in like a there was no set, it was just an old house. Um
right.
and like so, when it's them like sleeping in their separate rooms, like they have like their little personal effects about like some of their clothes, things like that. Um I mean, that being said, when you're in the kids' room, you never really see the floor because she's always talking. They're usually talking from the bed. Um, so like you normally are focused on the kids. So like for all we know, and I also acknowledge like the cleanliness of their room can also be accounted to the fact that the brother has like a germophobia and OCD. So he
Hmm.
could be compulsively cleaning when you don't have him on screen.
Right.
So like I
Yeah, I
get
think
like at least there's excuses in there to cover up like why maybe everything looks a little too in place.
well, and I also think that there's a level of that that also is explained by the twist as well, which we'll get into in a little bit. But I think that because of what's going on with the twist, that also necessitated a reason for things being a little bit more in place rather than normal lived in.
But I mean
So
that's
there could be
very
an
fair.
argument for that.
But I would also argue because of the twist, um, it would also give an excuse for things not to be where they
Sure.
should be.
No. Yeah. No, I there's an argument for both ways for sure. The twist could be an argument for it being more lived in or more of a mess, but also for it to be less like that. So yeah, it could be argued either way. But I agree with you. I think that by and large, it's to me it didn't distract. I never really
Oh no no
noticed it
no no!
in
I
terms of
never
yeah,
upon initial viewing, like that I never noticed these things. I've seen the movie quite a few times, uh,
yeah,
just like because like it's a nifty film to put on.
yeah,
Um, when and I've shown it to a few people who like are just like were a bit skeptical, and I'm like, no 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 no, it's actually pretty good. Like just give it a try, just give it a try.
yeah.
And I've been trying to do that for his daughter's film, The Watchers, and I'm like, you all just need to
Mm,
get over your M. Night Shyamalan issues and just
yep.
like give her a shot. Just give her a shot
Yeah, no, I
because like
agree. I
it
like the Watchers. I'm not covering it right now, but
mhm,
um but
I love folk
I
horror and
probably
I
will yes,
like that book.
exactly. Yeah. No, the Watchers is really great. I think that it got a lot of hate because it was his daughter and people were just going to be dismissive to begin with on that. But I think,
Hmm.
it overall did okay and those who will go back to watch it later who may have skipped over it will probably be hopefully be pleasantly surprised by it. So,
I agree,
um,
especially if it gets if they. I heard that they plan on adapting the other books
mm,
into films.
okay.
So like
That'd be cool.
if that does go through, then hopefully people will you know gain some attention, and like I don't know, even like hopefully people read the book because like while there's like there's differences, still solid. Um, but I want to ask you, were you
Mhm.
able to guess the twist from the trailer? Because I know many people
You,
were.
you know what? I don't know that I've watched the trailer in a long time, so I would have to rewatch the trailer to see if I could guess it. But like, I think that would be the problem right now is that just I don't remember what it was before I ever saw it, before I ever like saw
Were you able
saw
to
it and
guess
found out
it
about the.
in the course of the film?
Um, I don't know that I was. I think it was pretty successful in being like, because of the way it's set up, that their mother hadn't talked to her parents in so long and so didn't know how they were anymore, that these kids meeting them for the first time, their grandparents for the very first time, which is again a very odd setup. Uh like to just randomly be like going to visit their grandparents that they'd never seen in their life, by themselves without their parents there, especially
Yeah,
with it being
strange
a
setup.
what.
It's definitely a strange setup premise kind
Yeah,
of thing.
like me as a person, like if I had, because I have had problems with my parents in the past, and um I would not just, if I hadn't talked to my parents in like 15 years, there'd be no way I would send my kids to go spend a week with them without me being there.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
because I would be like, well, what are they going to say to my kids? How are they going to treat my kids? Um, I don't know who these people are anymore. And
Like
so
at this
especially
point,
if it turned out to be like a bad relationship, like it sounded like in the beginning. So yeah, it was a weird setup for me. So like going into it, I'm like, well, I wouldn't have done this anyway, but okay, so we're gonna go along with this. And then when the grandparents just turned out to be, generally okay at first, and then things were going weird. I was like, okay. I mean, at least they're kind of excusing it by them being old and maybe, suffering with, you know, dementia issues.
mhm.
That could be pretty explainable. Um, and so as a setup goes, it's a fairly decent setup, honestly. It is, it's weird. I wouldn't do it myself, but I mean, that's horror. Horror is always going to give you a
Ye-
weird setup. So,
yeah, you just gotta suspend your disbelief, and like
exactly.
luckily the movie I'm able to do that with. It's like, yeah, this is a pretty far-fetched
Exactly.
situation, but I can live with it. But I will say it makes Catherine Hunt look like a terrible mother. It's just like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
yeah, I want to go on a cruise with my boyfriend, so let me send my kids
Well,
to my
to be
parents
fair,
who I have a bad relationship with and haven't seen for 15 years.
she was very reluctant to do it. The kids wanted to do it. They wanted to give her the chance to go have this time with the boyfriend because the dad had left them.
Hmm.
This all set up in the beginning is this their dad had left to go, you know, be with some other woman, and had just kind of left. And, the kids were kind of pissed at their dad and, wanting to just move on from all that. So there was a lot of lingering resentment about the dad. And so I kind of get it. Definitely Catherine Hahn's character, the mom, seems to be not the smartest in the whole situation at this point. Um, so I can see where, and again, the when you find out the twist later, there is still like when the reveal happens, it's there's still a lot of, it's like it's hard to talk about without doing the reveal. Um, I mean, we could just go ahead
Uh,
and do it. Um,
I mean, we
let's go ahead.
can.
Yeah, let's just go
people
ahead and talk
people
about the
who are
reveal.
watching this most likely have seen the movie.
Yeah, so yeah, if you've, I mean, you obviously if you've seen the movie, you know what happened. But if you haven't seen the movie, please don't continue to listen to us. Go back, watch the movie, come back. But
We're giving
anyway,
you 5 seconds.
yeah, exactly. pause now, go watch the movie, come back. But yeah, so what you end up finding out is that these people aren't their grandparents at the end. And that they're actually patients from this mental hospital, psychiatric hospital that their grandparents actually like volunteered at and helped with, and the grandparents had been talking to some of the patients, including these two, about the visit with the grandchildren, and that they were really excited about it. So it really kind of puts like, and it honestly like makes you feel really bad for the grandparents who were really going to be there,
Mhm.
that they were excited and wanted to reconnect with their wanted to connect with their grandchildren and potentially reconnect with their daughter after all these years, and then they're killed by these patients and then having their identities taken over. um
And like
and
it's
go ahead.
sad. Like it's sad. It's
It was
sad
very
with the
sad.
grandparents, and like it's sad with the fake grandparents, even though they're evil, because like like the woman playing playing Nana, she doesn't really like uh talk about it she doesn't talk about the scheme the way that like the guy playing Pop Pop does.
Yeah,
Um, but he said like I just wanted to give her a family for a
yeah.
little while. And it's like, that's sad because it's just like these two people, because obviously these two people, if we're going to take it into account, they previous to this were not dangerous. Otherwise, civilians would not have been able to go into the mental institution to assist them. Like they
They
were not.
hadn't been dangerous in a long time. The woman Nana had killed her children and like
Oh,
thrown
yes,
them
I
into a
forgot.
lake.
Oh my God. Yeah, I
So
forgot about that.
yeah, so she did something, and I don't know if maybe he did also, but maybe it had
I
been
think
a
he had
long enough
his
time
aggression
period.
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, his aggression issues. Um,
So so
I forgot, yeah, about her little story that she gave where she
yeah.
thought that she was sending her children to like aliens, um,
Yeah, exactly.
and where she drowned her kids. But like these people had been like so like innocuous for so long, like
Yes.
that that Nana doesn't deserve it because of the situation she put herself in, and it obviously like Pop Pop like with his mental issues like kind of glosses over the fact that she has a murderous streak,
Yeah.
probably due to some, most likely due to some kind of postpartum and things like that.
Yeah.
Because like she genuinely seems like she's caring, um, until she hits that sundowning point,
Right.
um, and she like becomes fucking feral.
Yeah. And I will say, based on what little I know, and to be fair, I'm not a mental health advocate. I don't know much about, that side of things for sure. But what little I do know feels like they did he wasn't trying to portray these people as like inherently bad people. They were people with mental health issues, including previous to getting old, and then being old exacerbated that. Um, and then, so at least in that sense, you could sympathize with them. They didn't seem to be inherently evil.
They are more
And
complicated than a mustachioed twirling villain
exactly. Well, and I don't think that the
who had
mental
like
health,
evil intentions for these children from
right.
the very beginning.
And I don't think the issues that they had were portrayed in a negative light either, where I can understand some people have issues with sometimes some things, like people have had issues with like Split, like we mentioned earlier, and like I talk about in the next episode, that there are people have had issues with the way the DID was portrayed in the movie, mostly just because most people with DID are not violent. Like it's a very
No,
low, like 1% or something like that, less than 1% are ever violent, and that's fine. I get that, and like I say, in that this is a movie universe, and you know, regular people aren't inherently violent either. Just, you know,
It's
things.
unfortunate. This movie exists in a space that has consistently and repeatedly demonized the mentally ill. And this is
Sure.
just
Yeah.
one more addition to the pile of, well, these people are mentally ill, so that's why they did the bad thing. And
Right. And I don't think that that's
while
what
at
this
least
actually
for,
says, too. Go ahead.
no, 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 I don't think that's what it says. But the
Yeah.
problem is, it is there.
Yeah. True.
They are
Agreed.
mentally ill. They are the whole, this begins and ends with them being mentally ill, because if they
Sure.
weren't
Yeah.
mentally ill, because the basics they're setting up, if they weren't mentally ill, they wouldn't have done this. Now, he could have made them just two random people who did not have, two old people who didn't have a family, who did this plot. But to get all the extra stuff that he wanted to throw in there, the sundowning, the
Yeah.
um the aggression, the other things. Well, I mean the aggression could have just been a normal thing, because like pop up like just beats a
Yeah.
guy just like to pieces, and that old man
But
goes
in like that's
ham
a
on that guy.
yeah, but that was also like a paranoia, and he was
Yeah,
also like he was also there were moments in the movie where he was like getting dressed for a costume party. He was like obviously having some kind of Alzheimer's dementia
yeah,
style memory breaks. And so,
yeah. So
you
it's
know,
just like one of those things where it's just like like because they were mentally ill, it's another just mental illness uh makes people hurt people. And it's just
right.
like, and statistically that is not true.
Sure.
In
Yeah,
real life,
exactly.
the people with mental illnesses are far more likely to be harmed, to
Oh
be
yeah.
victims of a crime, than they
Yeah.
are to perpetrate a crime. Now, I have had to say this other times because there used to be a podcast called Sword and Scale. I'm sure your listeners, if they're familiar with true crime podcasts, they
Hmm.
know about Sword and Scale, and they know about Mike Boudet. Um, and Mike Boudet seemed to have some deep, deep issues with people with mental illnesses, to the point that he would point out the statistics and then personally just kind of say he didn't believe them.
Okay. Yeah.
And like, I used to like Sword and Scale. I paid for his Patreon, and on his Patreon, he would have like extra episodes, and in the description of these extra episodes, he would kind of just put his thoughts. And I had an like one time I had to screenshot it, and I think I posted it to Facebook, so I still have it, so I can like prove to people that he said this. Um, basically it was just saying like, I don't believe doctors and scientists and everybody when they say that, excuse me, sorry, that people with mental illnesses are less of a danger to society than society is to people with mental illnesses. And I feel like I know that a lot of movies, like, we also have to separate movie world with real life, and some people struggle with that a lot. Um, but like, it's already something that is so already kind of taboo, though we are getting much, much better as a society about taking mental illness seriously, not being judgmental, encouraging people to get the help that they need, not like shove things inside. We are doing better than we have in a long time. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't think that the movie helps, also because it is also extremely unlikely, and I'm going to get a little personal here. Um, I have a great uncle whom I loved greatly. He's the person who introduced me to Star Wars. And one day, when no one was expecting it, took a shotgun and went down to the lake by his property, and he shot himself.
Mm.
And no one knew that he was struggling or that he was suffering or anything like that. People who are older, like the elderly, tend not to get factored in for mental health when they need it. One, because they have lived with the stigma for so long that they don't want to um, you know, admit to, and I'm using quotation marks here, that weakness. They don't know that they can get help. They don't have like the education and information available to get that kind of help. They suffer in silence, and sometimes they do not survive their mental illnesses. And like I think that this, despite the fact like this movie portrays like these things being more of a sign of dementia, which is both a physical and a mental uh thing, because it's like deterioration of the brain and all that other stuff that leads to these like mental issues.
Right.
um you know it's quite clear that like Nana also suffers from like severe depression,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because she has those moments where she just is just sitting there staring out the window and
Well, and
like
she talks about
nothing's
having the
going on.
deep darkies,
Yeah,
she's talking about
yeah,
having
she
those
says that she.
moments where she's like really depressed, so yeah.
Mhm.
No, I think I think honestly, I think the movie does a fairly good job at portraying these people as fairly sympathetic. They come off
Mhm.
as weird and everything, but even the kids are like, look, there's something strange going on, but part of it is just them being old. And I
Yeah.
think that is um like from watching it this time and everything, I got a lot more sense of that Shyamalan was trying to portray these people as fairly sympathetic. Yes, there was obviously something malevolent going on underneath it, but also on top of it all, just showing that this is what happens when people get old as well, and that we need to give them some kind of sympathy. Um,
I
and I,
do acknowledge that, and I respect it in the context of the fact that I have seen I have seen worse,
yeah,
and
no,
I have seen
absolutely.
significantly less sympathetic portrayals of the mentally ill, and I've seen significantly less sympathetic portrayals of the mentally ill from M. Night Shyamalan. Um,
Yeah,
So like it's just like, because I do appreciate that like he works in a narrative that doesn't make them just howling maniacs from the very beginning.
right.
I don't quite understand like, why Nana's feral and animalistic in her things, because that's not in my experience. And I can't say I can speak for every person with like, Alzheimer's, dementia, things like that, how that affects their brain and how they will react, because it is different from for every single person.
Yeah, exactly.
But in my experience, I have not seen that, while I have seen aggression, because I will tell you, when you are suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's and you are suddenly struck with the fact that you don't know who these people are around you, you don't know where you are, and you don't know why, you get
Yeah,
upset.
it's the fight or flight thing. It's like an inherent part of our nature that like if that happens to you and suddenly, you blank out and that everybody around you now is unrecognizable. Yeah, you're gonna freak out. You're gonna be like,
Yeah,
whoa, 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 who are you? Like, and then you're gonna either run or you're gonna lash out. And so, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So,
yeah. So, but like Pop Up at the very end, Pop Up locks Olivia's character. Gosh, her name's escaping me. The character's name,
yeah,
because I know the actress's name is Olivia, but like, oh my God, why can't I
Rebecca.
remember? Rebecca. Okay, yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
Becca.
I was like to say, yeah, Becca. I was about to say it's a really easy name. um, it's not like it's weird. Uh, but like he locks her in the room with like Nana, like Nana is some kind of like monster that he's keeping in a
Yeah.
cage. It's like that's a little. I mean, I
Well,
understand why they did it, like so that each
yeah,
kid could face off their against their respective uh fake grandparent, but like it was
right,
just like, oh my God, it's kind of funny in a way, and it's just like,
right.
man, it's like, girl. I understand that you're scared, but that is an old lady and you're in a bedroom. There are so many weapons in here.
Well, I want to talk
Like
real
you
quick
just
about.
you're smart. You can think like you anything you think of, it's a weapon.
I do want to talk about the kids real quick too. The like the kid characters and stuff like that because the girl, like the older sister, she comes off as very like driven, very she's all about the filmmaking and everything that's her focus right now is just she wants to make she's filming all this as a documentary for her mother and kind of about her mother and everything
Hmm.
and everything. So I like that there's that conceit for that, and that's what drives her through the bulk of this movie. Meanwhile, her brother is um
The most annoying little shit
the
you'll ever
most
see.
annoying fucking kid ever, and it drives me nuts too that he's rapping constantly through this
Yes.
movie.
Oh my God, I hate it. I hate it
It's
so
so terrible
much.
because he's so bad at it, number one. And I get the point is that that's it's intentionally done that way. He's
Hmm.
meant to look bad and everything, but it's just like and
Stop
then to
making him
end the
do it.
movie. Yeah, it was like and then the end of the movie ends with him doing a rap. And it's like, did we have to? You could have lopped that off and we would have been much happier as an audience. And you end it on that note of all things. It's
Also,
just like
like in the final rap, it's kind of funny, like
there
because
are
he
parts that are funny
mentioned
in the rap.
because like there the he part he's just I have to give them credit because they are two of the most realistic child characters I've ever seen in a movie because yeah, teenagers are annoying.
Oh, very
I love
much.
them,
Yeah.
but like teenagers can be annoying. And despite the fact that M. Night Shyamalan, no offense, really sucks at writing dialogue for children in every movie that has ever had a child, he the actors make it work. They
Yeah.
surprisingly make it
Most
work.
of them.
They were
Yeah, most of
there.
them I'll agree. Yeah.
They were surprisingly talented children. I know Olivia was cast after like having just one audition. Like Shyamalan saw her and was like, "That's the girl. That's my girl
Yeah.
for this movie." And it's just like I don't I don't
I
blame her.
think it's
She's quite good.
I think it's funny though that both of them end up in a movie again together.
Yeah.
They're both in a movie called Better Watch Out, which is actually a really good, fun holiday movie that people should watch
Surprisingly
if you
enough,
haven't
I
yet.
do not like that movie as much as
Oh,
I
that's
like
so
the other.
funny.
I don't
That's funny.
because everybody told me like it's just like well like what if Home Alone's traps were like realistic and it's just like you mean the one trap he
Yeah,
does
yeah. It's like literally just one thing. Yeah, it's dumb.
and it's just like I mean yes that's realistically what would happen if you did that in real life um but
Yeah.
I just could not. I did think it was funny that they were both in a movie again, but like I
Yeah.
did not particularly care for that movie, and like I hated the ending. I hated it. I hate I hate when movies do that. It's like, oh, can we go visit her at the hospital? It's like, stop it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Anyway.
no, she made it. She made it. Just let us have this. She
Yeah.
made it. Nothing's going to happen to her. She's fine. Um, but as I was saying, like in Tyler's rap in the end, like he said he survived like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon, which is funny
Yeah.
because of how he kills Pop Pop.
Yeah.
Because he slams his head in the refrigerator door until he dies, and like that's exactly what Mel Gibson's character does, but like with a car door.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was Lethal Weapon 2.
It's
I
been a
don't
while
remember.
since I've
I
seen
can't.
those
You
movies. Yeah.
listen. Listen. I can't really differentiate between Lethal Weapons or Die Hard. So Rob,
I've
my
I've
husband
watched
Rob, please don't get mad at me.
yeah, I've watched all of those quite a bit, but it's been a while since I have watched any of the Lethal Weapon movies.
I'm not a
Um,
big action movie person.
you're what?
I'm not a big action movie person.
Oh yeah, see, I love action movies. So I could do a whole other podcast on action movies. Um,
Bet you could.
I bet I could. I'm not going to. But
I think
uh,
my favorite action movie out of all of them is From Paris with Love. I don't know
I
why. It just is.
don't even know that one.
It has uh Jonathan. Hold on one second. I am you say stuff while I
I
look this up.
think I know which one you're talking about. But I think the lead that you're probably talking about is somebody that I don't care for enough to watch the movie. Um,
Yeah, no, the lead is John Travolta, and it's Jonathan Rhys Meyers. Yes, and no, I don't
yeah.
also don't care for John Travolta much either. But I think I saw it on a date, and I was like,
Um,
this was actually relatively enjoyable. And I can't say that about a lot of like um John Travolta movies that aren't like uh Grease. My
I
family is real big on musicals.
yeah. I yeah, there's John Travolta's made a lot of terrible movies. But
Oh yeah,
y-
more than I can possibly
yeah,
list right now.
yeah. But he's been in some good ones. If you haven't seen it yet, you should definitely watch Get Shorty. That one's a good one. Um,
Maybe I like I like, despite the fact that I have a distaste for so many people, I very much love Pulp Fiction.
oh yeah, no, Pulp Fiction's always going to be a good one. But
Yeah, like
yeah,
I don't like a lot of things that happen in it. I don't like a lot of people. Well, not a lot of people. I just don't I don't like Quentin Tarantino, and I don't like John Travolta. But I do love Samuel L. Jackson,
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah,
and
I
I
think.
do love Uma Thurman.
Well, and this is the interesting thing for me too, because like everybody's always like, "Oh, Pulp Fiction's like his best movie," and I'm like, "Look, it was great for its time. It's not his best movie. He's made much better
If you
movies since then. Like
if you
he's
watch
made
it now, it's there are parts of that that did not age well. I will
no, and it's
say,
very of its time.
despite the fact that Reservoir Dogs also in places has not aged well, still incredibly fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I already did my whole series on Tarantino way back in I think the first year of the podcast. Um, but yeah, I'm a big Tarantino fan. I've loved pretty much all of his movies. And and I own all of them. Um,
I
I'll
want to say that
argue.
I'm not a Tarantino fan, but I I am. Like I can't even say that I'm not a fan of the movies because I am a fan of the movies. I just don't like him.
No, he is a very abrasive personality for sure. He's very he can be very much up his own ass, for sure.
Oh yeah. And
And that's
um
fine. He's kind of earned it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, it's kind of also not earned. So it's whatever. Like I take him just as the person he is. He's a good filmmaker. He's a weird guy. Leave it at that, and just I'll enjoy his movies and the fact that he makes really good movies. Um,
there are some other things about him, like other than him just being up his own ass, that I have like complaints about. But
yeah,
they're not something that I feel I don't feel like discussing that right now. This
no,
is
no, no,
not the time.
no.
Listen,
Let's get back to
I'm not gonna bring up race relations in an M. Light Shyamalan
no, no, no.
podcast episode. We'll save it for another episode where I
There you
can.
go. But yeah, but I think overall this movie, it handles this subject well enough. Yes, you could argue that he's maybe a little heavy-handed with some stuff and everything like that, but I think overall he's doing the best that he can with the subject matter. I think um it's this kind of thing is always going to be kind of touchy anyway. I'm not going to argue that if you don't agree with it and you think it's a bad choice, I'm not going to argue with you on that. Everybody has their own limits to what they think is good or bad about stuff, especially mental health issues. Um, but I think that, and everybody has their own boundaries on that. And so I
Yeah.
think that if this is too much for you, same with Split. If Split is too much for you, like definitely, like, I'm not going to argue with that. I understand completely. I'm not going to say you have to watch it. Oh, you have to like, no, 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 no. I
Like with
don't
Split,
care
I
for doing that.
acknowledge that like James McAvoy, like I've seen parts of Split, and I know
Yeah.
James McAvoy is a fantastic actor, and he does fantastically as he always does. He's
Yeah.
never disappointed me in a single role ever, even in a remake of a movie that was perfectly fine and we did not need an English remake of,
Yeah. And
especially
that
since we
was
made it, we fixed quotation marks the ending.
yeah, and that it had such a huge marketing push that I had to see the stupid trailer every freaking time I went to the movies until it finally came out. I was so glad when that movie
Fun.
finally came out so I could stop seeing the damn trailer for it. Oh, it was
Feel that
so
way about
annoying.
any romance movie or any movie, any kids movie about a dog.
Yeah, see, I mostly go and watch like horror movies
Yeah,
and
I
big
do, and
but
sometimes they still slip in
no,
there
they
anyway.
do. They do. They do. But yeah, no, it was just yeah. But yeah, no,
Um,
I think overall this movie is good. I think it's worth a watch. It's very good in terms of found footage. I think it's a must watch for anybody who loves found footage. Um, I'm not an expert on found footage, so you can go talk to other people like Angel at Voices from the Mausoleum. She's a huge found footage person. Um, and but I think that it's good for what it is, and I think that it was a good quote unquote comeback for Shyamalan, something that kind of got him to come back and show, hey, look, I'm still as good as I was. Um, give me another chance, kind of thing. So I think that
I
helped
I
in a lot of
have
ways.
one scene that I take pretty big issue with,
Okay.
and I understand where it came from and how it got there, and I understand, but it like made me and my friend fucking panic in the theater, and it's when Pop Pop is facing down Ed in the kitchen
Hmm.
and he's talking very menacingly to him. And then he starts undoing his pants and they cut back to Olivia and Nana. And I was like, my God, please, 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 not this.
Yeah.
Anything but this. And I
Yeah.
will tell you, I have never been so fucking grateful to see an old man smear shit on a child's face than I was in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's just like, wow, this isn't good, but it's better than what I thought it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know how you would have transitioned that scene better, but I feel like they should have transitioned that scene better.
I
And
don't I
because I
don't know that
really,
there
I
was
really
any way
hope
to do
that's
that.
not was the yeah, because I really don't think that they were going in with like that to be the actual implication that they were trying for. It just kind of happened that way
Yeah. Yeah.
because of like what it leads to, but because it cuts at that exact moment, it's just like, oh my God. Like it's because at
Yeah.
this point, everything is fully off the rails. They have discovered the bodies. They have have seen Stacy's body hanging in the yard. All bets are off. These people can do anything. They
Yeah.
know they're not their grandparents. So like they're 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 dangerous um to them. And it's just like and like I should have known in my heart of hearts that M. Night Shyamalan wouldn't do that to me because he is not a man who really does that
No,
a
he's
lot.
not really that kind of a
Like I can't
provocateur in
really
that
think
way.
I can
Yeah.
I was led to say I can't really think of a specific time that he's ever done that, especially since like he does have to the idea that childhood innocence is something to be cherished. Like that is
Yeah.
something he definitely indicates in like Lady in the Water, like a movie that he made based off of a story he used to tell his children when they
Yeah.
were little, and which I think, despite the fact the movie is not great, I think is very wholesome.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I
and
agree with you. I think that
I feel a little
yeah.
bad that I thought that badly of him in the moment, but because of the way that horror movies go for shock value these days, and can put
Yeah.
some absolutely grotesque stuff in it. For the most part, you don't see those in movies that like, get big studio releases.
No.
Most rating organizations will say cut that right
Yeah.
out of the movie. You are not getting an R rating. You will not. We will not show this. Um,
Yeah.
but like it's just like like even the implication just like had my heart just like I was having palpitations. I was terrified for that child.
Yeah.
So like congratulations, you scared me. You didn't scare me for the reason that you thought you did, but you did terrify the crap out of me.
Well, it's
It,
interesting
it,
too,
it
because this movie's only a PG-13. So it's definitely
yeah,
like definitely was not a even with the even if that implication had been intentional. I think that, it was definitely at least when you come back to it and you realize what's happening, at least you can be assured that even if it had been intentional, that it wasn't gonna go there. And like you said, M. Night's not known for that kind of shock, like that kind of extremity. And
yeah,
so that's what was good about that, is like even then it's just like, don't get me wrong, it's still shocking to have that freaking like diaper smeared on your face.
yes, but like it's
And
a relief in comparison to what I was thinking was going
yeah,
to happen.
exactly. No,
Like, because like
absolutely.
I didn't think that it would ever be shown on screen or anything, but I thought there might be like an
No,
aftermath, and like after we
exactly.
finished in the Nana scene, and I'm like, I really don't want to deal with that
Yeah,
implication. Um,
yeah,
but no, he's just like he's like I never liked you, and like
yeah,
did that. He's like I know you're like bad with germs, and it's just like, and I kind of appreciate because me and Brittany like the scene also in itself went from like being upsetting to being healing because that kid fucking cackling that
yeah,
man screaming, like just going through like the trauma of having that football failure and just
yep,
screaming and like just slamming his head into the refrigerator, slamming his head between the refrigerator door was just kind of cathartic in a way because like
right.
yeah, he triggered that kid hard, and that kid went to the furthest possible like reaction, and
No, yeah.
it was well deserved.
Yeah. No, he broke that kid. He broke him for sure. Um, but yeah, no, I think that's what makes the movie interesting too. Is just that it's like you take all these little bits and pieces of it all, and for the most part, I'd say everything pays off in a good way. So I
It's
think that's
sad, but
that.
I
Go
think
ahead.
the growth that the children experience is good. My only one thing is like when Catherine Hahn's character is discussing with them the the incident that caused her estrangement,
Hmm.
like that she was fighting with her parents over her boyfriend, and like she slapped one of her I'm sorry, her parents slapped her, and
Yeah.
like that caused their separation. Um, and it's just like, I can see where a situation like that would cause a rift for a really long time,
Yeah.
especially after her boyfriend, who is the kid's father, ran off with another woman and proved her parents right. And she had that humiliation also of having to admit that her parents were correct about what a piece of shit he was. And that
Yeah.
all this time she could have had a relationship with her parents, and now it will never be fixed.
Yeah.
But her using that same thing and telling her daughter not to hold a grudge, I feel
Yeah.
are completely different situations because it's just like, no, what happened with your parents was tragic and a result of too much pride from the both parties over
Hmm.
a situation that could have been talked about and handled. Their father abandoned them. He
Yeah.
just left them, and she and uh,
Becca.
Becca is not entitled to forgive him. And I might be speaking a little personally on that part, but she's not entitled to forgive him to because like I'm no contact with my estranged father. Um,
Yeah.
um, and she's not entitled to forgive him or give him a second chance or anything like that, because at the end of the day, he left her and put her and her mother and her brother into not only an extremely fragile emotional situation, but obviously a very tenuous financial one as well, because of the mother's, like, she just works at Walmart. Like, she doesn't make enough to support her
Yeah.
family, like, as much as she would like to. And it's those, like, so Becca and, like, Ed are not entitled to forgive their father. Even, like, if there was some kind of tragedy that happened that resulted in it, like, it's something that, like, Becca of course can ponder on in years to come, but I don't think that's the overall message that we should leave with.
Yeah. No. I mean, I can see it ending on a path to reconciliation. There's a certain part where they can forgive some of that, and I think maybe that could be the intention, but it is kind of vague. It's vague enough that yeah, I definitely agree with you that I don't think that, there's no way that she has to forgive him, and that, her mother saying that is I think you can take it
I
of two ways. Like the mother just saying, try not to hold on to it as long as I did, I think is kind of the intent behind it that I saw it as was just like, you don't have to forgive him right now, but,
but don't hold on to
maybe,
that anger
but don't
forever.
hold on to the anger forever. Yeah, exactly. So,
And that's a better message of, like, don't hold on to, like, not, you don't necessarily have to forgive, but don't hold on to that anger, because that anger can, like,
mhm,
eat you up inside.
exactly. You don't have to forgive, but
But
you can move on. So,
yeah,
but
and
yeah.
just, like, that was my thing. Like, for the most part, that was, like, really the three issues if you count the rapping.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no,
And
that was
also,
not
the
fun.
instead of saying swear words, I'm going to say female pop stars names.
Oh,
And I was
so
watching
dumb.
CinemaSins, and CinemaSins like, this feels vaguely misogynistic, and I'm like, it kind of does, yeah.
Well, the kid was very misogynistic,
That's very
definitely,
true.
definitely had a lot of misogynistic overtones. Like every time he would end his raps, he would end it with ho, so there was definitely some stuff there. And I mean, and again, that could be a remnant of the father leaving and stuff like that. There's a lot that you can dive into in this in terms of,
Like,
that kind of
but also, I think it's
angle.
just a showing of, like, M. Night Shyamalan's complete and utter misunderstanding of how hip hop works.
True, true. I do think it's
And that's
interesting.
okay.
There is a little bit of a, was it this movie?
Hmm?
No. No, it was another movie. Sorry, never mind. Anyway, um, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh, no, no, no. It's just like, it's okay if he doesn't have that fundamental understanding of, like, hip hop and R&B culture, but, it's just like, it's not all misogynistic. A lot of it is. Um,
Yeah.
I can't deny that, but, that's
But you could
that's not
see
a
it from,
conversation you get to have, M. Night
but
Shyamalan.
interestingly enough, if you think about it from his, like, if he were, I don't necessarily think he's doing it as a thing that he's not aware of. I think he is aware of it, and he's aware of how a young white boy in his teens would see rap culture as. And that's
Yeah,
why
especially if he
this
listens to
specific
Eminem.
white, yeah, this specific white teen is taking that message of what rap music is like, and this is what he's patterning his own behaviors and stuff on. And so
Mm,
that makes a lot of sense in terms of the character. So
it
it's
does. It
interesting.
does. It's an interesting thing. It's just like, they were surprised, like I said, they're surprisingly well written child characters. And I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, M. Night Shyamalan kind of made his career on a well written child character.
Yeah.
So, like,
And
it's not surprising that these ones were also, like I said, he seems to forget how his children talked as children. Now that they're adults, and it's just
yeah.
like, children do not talk like that. But the one part like that I feel like it was like kind of like self uh like he recognized that in himself is when the kid's like bouncing the ball and he's still like, this is how children play.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you for coming on again. I very much appreciate it. And where can people find you online?
You can't. I have disappeared from the internet. I'm
Okay.
just kidding. You can find me on Twitter at Miss Onika J. Um, I check it so often, every so often, mostly to talk to Cat Valor. But and I'm on Blue Sky, so you
Okay.
can find me there as well.
All right. Well, again, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. And I'll hope to get you on again soon for another episode.
For sure.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening. Creepy and Geeky is produced and hosted by Robert Clark. If you like what you've heard, please consider giving the show 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And share the podcast on social media to help spread the word. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or at creepyandgeeky.com. You can follow the podcast by going to creepyandgeeky.com and clicking on any of the social links. If you'd like to follow me, you can find my links at geekthulu.com. You can support the podcast by ordering teas and more on TeePublic or by donating to the coffee page. All of the links are in the show notes. Finally, don't forget, stay creepy.